Live special Huw Edwards resigns from the BBC video UK 24.
As part of his departure. He worked at the BBC for 40 years, the highest profile and highest paid news presenter who also fronted major national events, most recently
The royal
the
family.
coronation. But he has been off air since last July after newspaper reports emerged claiming that he had paid a young person for sexually explicit images.
Oh dear.
Our culture editor.
He's not well at the moment, that's why he resigned, I think. More than likely, we know that.
This was
Sadly.
the last time Huw Edwards appeared on air, back in July last year.
Tonight at 10, no
Yeah, I remember.
yet in the latest round.
He'd been at the helm of the BBC's flagship News at 10 for more than 2 decades. Today, the presenter resigned and left the BBC, 9 months after allegations about his private life made headlines.
Tonight at 10, one of the biggest military operations of the past.
The BBC said, after 40 years of service, Huw has explained that his decision was made on the basis of medical advice from his doctors. The BBC has accepted his resignation, which it believes will allow all parties to move forward.
The moment of crowning.
Oh, he's done well for himself, to be honest.
Huw Edwards was more than just a regular presenter. He's been the face of the BBC through some of the nation's landmark moments.
For the 4th time in the space of 5 years.
He presented elections.
And we're live in Downing Street.
He's going to
and
retire
held
eventually,
hands
let's
through
face
royal and
facts.
state occasions,
He's done well for
even
himself.
announcing the death of Queen Elizabeth.
Palace has just issued his statement.
But a newspaper headline changed everything. Last summer, The Sun published a series of articles alleging that an unnamed BBC presenter had paid a young person to send what the paper described as sordid images. Within days, lawyers representing that person said it was totally wrong and there was no truth in it. But speculation about who the unnamed BBC presenter was ended when Huw Edwards' wife issued a statement revealing his name. She said he was suffering severe mental health issues. Police said there was no evidence anything illegal had taken place, but Huw Edwards remained suspended, and the BBC said its internal investigation into the presenter's behaviour would continue.
There are 650 MPs.
Resolving the issue of whether he would return to screen has taken months, during which it's believed Huw Edwards, the BBC's highest paid news presenter, continued to receive his salary, around £440,000 a year.
Welcome to Windsor for this.
Today, his 40-year career at the BBC is over. From reporting on politics for BBC Wales to his prestigious role bringing the news to the nation, this is now the end of an era.
I think he's done very well for himself. He should be proud of himself.
With me now, and you mentioned there an internal
I
review
reckon he's
that
a great
is
man.
going on. What happens to that?
Well, so in fact, there have been several reviews, as I understand it. There's one very public-facing one, which was the procedural review after the parents of the young person involved complained and said their complaint was ignored. So that review was published, and the BBC has beefed up its processes to ensure that doesn't happen again. I also, as you said in the piece, mentioned an internal review, which the BBC's never confirmed, but an internal review into the presenter's behaviour. Well, it's never confirmed what was going on with that. That's because it's an HR issue, and my sense is that now Huw Edwards is no longer an employee. That falls away. That matter is now closed. The BBC has confirmed that as of today, this resignation, they've not made any payment to Huw Edwards to leave the BBC. That would be standard procedure in any resignation. You don't usually get a payout, but as I said, he was continuing to be paid up to now, which is also standard BBC policy when someone is suspended. I mean, more broadly, what this means for the BBC is some form of closure. It can now proceed with announcing its plans. Who's going to present the election coverage that's obviously coming up fairly soon, who will lead the presenting team on News at 10. The statement they put out talked about both parties moving forward.
Clive should do the 10 o'clock news. Clive. That's my vote.
Thank you.
He's a great man.
The Prime Minister
There you
has
go.
insisted that his flag...
We know what's happened to him now. Please subscribe to the channel, sign James on the force BB yours. This is my friend's Mark and Jim every Friday, 3 to 5 pm, ITF 5 things, so Hills Radio Show every Friday, enters my phone, you name it. Shane for the years with Cindy Lou every Friday, live at 10 am to 12 pm. Cindy Lou every Friday, and that's on the Surrey Hills Radio Show. And this is my friend John Alar Show every Sunday at 9 to 12 pm, live on the Wake Show every Sunday at 9 to 12 pm. Please subscribe to the channel, sign James, I travel place, I go place, my baby. Bye.